Well, good morning and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It is March the 26th, 2023. We are live here at Love 105 FM, our new time slot. Now moving forward, it'll be Sundays 10 to 11 a.m. Every Sunday morning. We're live on Love 105 FM, here for your questions, comments, thoughts throughout the show. 612-294-6949. is how you can join us, or you can comment on the social media stream as well, wherever you might be catching us: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, your favorite platform. Thanks for being here. The show is interactive, and again, we got a lot to cover. End of March here in 2023. The show is hosted by, again, Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Walmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, REMAX Advantage Plus. In studio, Steve Stalock, Mike, Scott. We should have a good one today, guys.
Yeah. Should be good. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Great day out there. So after the show, everybody get out and enjoy the last couple of weeks of the Parade of Home. And like Ryan said, during the show, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us, or mnrealestateshow.com. And we love your questions.
Yeah, it should be a great show. Getting ready to go live on Love 105 FM. This is the new time. We'll be on every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We like a little later morning, right, Mike?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely nice where you don't have to rush in the morning to get here.
Yeah, so again, appreciate it. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. We're going to dive into a market update here first. Again, Love 105 FM and 612-294-6949. Appreciate you joining us. We're going live on air. Good morning and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us here today, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. here at Love 105 FM. Every Sunday morning, we're here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, and REMAX Advantage Plus. You're welcome to join us anytime throughout the show. 612-294-6949. Again, 612-294-6949. A lot to talk about today. And good morning to you, Mike and Scott. Good to see you guys here, 10 a.m.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If this is the first time you caught our show, which
we got you there, Scott. We're losing your mic there.
Mike's
friend.
Not there.
Mike, we got you there, buddy.
No.
There we go.
Is this one live?
There we go.
Yeah, like I was saying, thanks for tuning in the radio show. We are live here every Sunday. This is our first time at 10 a.m. We were doing 8 a.m. and we're now in our slot that we've been used to, because for the last 18 years we've been doing 10 to 11 o'clock. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, it should be a good show. We today got a lot to cover here in this first segment. Normally what we like doing is diving in with a real estate update and a mortgage update as well, just to give you an idea what's cooking here in the Twin Cities. And I think we'll start off first with that real estate update, just to share where things are at. New listings in the Twin Cities, so new homes for sale, down almost 26% less new properties came on the market this past week, comparing year over year. And then pending sales down 31%. There were 804 accepted purchase agreements, so down 31% year over year. And then the actual overall inventory, so the inventory is up 10% year over year. Right now there's 5,649 homes for sale in the Twin Cities. And Mike and Scott, maybe you guys can comment on this too. When we look nationally, so these are nationwide numbers. It's interesting. They came out, Realtor.com came out, and inventory is up almost 68% year over year in February. So nationally, inventory up 68% year over year. And they went, and they also said that inventory is up in 49 out of the 50 largest U.S. metros. They said driven largely by an increased time on market and decrease in buyer demand. I thought that was kind of interesting that, again, we're slowly starting to see more stuff happen, Scott.
Well, it is. And I think the thing that kind of throws that off a little bit, last year was the lowest inventory that we've ever had in the history of the planet. So,
Sure.
so of course you're going to be up from last year because, like, for example, when you just read those numbers, 5,500 homes on the market, up 10%. I remember this time last year, around this time, we dropped to as low as like 4,700 homes. And for those that haven't caught the show before, and kind of a market that has the equal amount of buyers, equal amount of sellers in the Twin Cities is about 18,000. So again, at 5,500 or 6,500 or 7,500 homes, it is just an extremely aggressive seller's market.
We like 10 a.m.
You do like 10 a.m. You know what? I was for all the early morning risers, I was one that was on your side trying to keep it at 8 o'clock. But then we had Adam Hartung on the show. And poor Adam, it looked like he had been sleep deprived for 2 or 3 months. He hadn't slept. So then we decided to move it back till 10. I got a question.
Yeah.
The question of the week.
Question of the week, Scott. Okay, so each question of the week, we like to do something fun, non-real estate related, to keep the show interesting. What do you got this week, Scott? You always surprise us. We don't know what you're going to say.
So I've got two questions. The first one is, what celebrity have you been told that you look like? So what celebrity have people like, oh my gosh, you look like so-and-so?
Okay.
And the second one's just an off kind of question. Who believes that you can burn fat in a sauna?
Who believes you can
Burn
burn
fat in a sauna.
Okay. Burn fat in a sauna. Well,
basically, can you burn fat in a sauna or no? Yes or no?
Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts.
Here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We just hit a little update from a real estate standpoint. Again, our friend Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, here in studio. Mike, what are we seeing rate-wise? Interest rates, where are things at?
Well, so the Feds raised rates this week, but mortgage rates went down. And a lot of people are going cross-eyed right now. It's like, well, how does that even work? Well, you got to remember that the Feds don't have control over mortgage rates. They don't control that. They control short-term rates, which is home equity lines of credit, credit cards, auto loans, short-term rates like that. They don't control long-term rates, which would be mortgage rates. So long-term rates and short-term rates are inverse from each other. When one goes up, typically the other goes down. So when the Feds come out and say, hey, we're going to raise rates because that's what the Feds do in order to slow down inflation, well, that helps our mortgage rates go down. So not only did the Silicon Valley Bank thing help our rates last week, this week, the Feds raised the short-term rates, which allows our long-term rates to go down. And so, I was looking at on Friday this last week, I locked in a couple different people at 5.99 on a 30-year fixed.
Wow.
That was with 1 point, which most people are paying, 1 point right now just to drive the rates down a little bit more. But, there's 2 live examples just on this last Friday, locking in at 5.99 on the 30-year.
294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Again, 612-294-6949. Mike, rising or decreasing rates here in the Twin Cities. What are you seeing from that with your team at Luminate as far as buyer demand, mortgage demand, that kind of thing?
You could see applications, right? Applications get more come in, and that gets busier in that front. You just feel the activity, right? You feel it that it's a little bit busier there. The one thing I keep saying though, we're talking about our inventory levels. Lower interest rates and having more pre-approved buyers out there. What does that do for us?
Having lower interest and
more buyers,
more offers.
Yeah. Does that help us though? Does having more buyers out there when our inventory is so low and you're getting multiple offers on every single property, adding more buyers to the mix, does it really help anything?
I think where it does help is there's an argument that a lot of people are not selling their home or listing their home because they bought maybe during COVID, and with interest rates super low, they don't want to move. Maybe they want to move, but they're looking at increased costs, housing costs, so they don't want to. So in that sense, at what point will people start to move?
Yeah, I think that's where rates have to get to a certain point to where, like you said, Ryan, people own a house right now at a 3% interest rate. They want to move. Maybe they had a growing family and they got to get out of their current place, but they're looking at how we're at 3% now. And if we go to the single family over here, now we're going to be at 6%.
Sure.
Can they stomach that additional cost? That's where it definitely helps, where rates will get down to a certain point where it's now that extra room and that bigger house and that bigger, the different school district, whatever. Now it makes sense to pay a little bit extra to get to that next level.
Yeah, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show with questions, comments, thoughts. We are seeing, again, a good amount of activity here in the Twin Cities. I'd say the last 2 weeks here across the board, a lot more inventory. We're seeing a lot more coming soons hit. Scott, you had a good example of a listing that instead of having 30 offers on it, you had, what you say, 2 offers?
Two offers, 6 showings in the first 2 days. It was I'll throw the numbers off a little bit since it's still an active property, but it was 600,000 in Shakopee. And we went on Thursday. We had 6 showings, 2 offers. And so again, very, very good. I mean, that's what you want. You want it to go to multiple offers. But the reality is, if this house was last year at this time, the first 3 or 4 months of last year, I would have probably priced that home about $30,000 less than I did, get 25 offers and get more than what we ended up with. This year, because the pressure, the buyer pressure is still very good, but it's not like it was last year. So I went with a little bit more aggressive number because in theory, let's say we only ended up with 1 offer, we only got 2, you could leave money on the table, where last year it was impossible to leave money on the table. You could list it at whatever, and you're going to make it up with 35 offers, and you're going to get your number anyway. A little bit harder to dictate if that's going to happen this year.
Mike, any prediction where interest rates are going to end up over the summer, or where things are going to go? Do you see things going down, continuing to go down?
I think there's room for that. How much room there? I don't know. I've been telling myself for the last probably month here or so, if we get to 5.5, I think we'd be doing good.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, by the summertime. Now, past the summertime, that's a ways down the road. You obviously got more time, more room for things to happen there. But between now and let's say July 1st, if we could hit 5.5, I think we'd be doing good. So hopefully we stay in that low 6s to high to mid 5s between now and July, and I think that would be great.
Had just a text message that came in from Frank asking about investment property in this market. Are there options at all for buying investment property in the Twin Cities? I would say absolutely. We do a seminar every month in Bloomington, a couple different seminars that are open to the public. Great information about becoming an investor or learning how to purchase more investment property, different types of property. I think obviously prices have risen the last number of years, but we talk a lot about a buy and hold type of strategy where you're buying real estate, you're holding onto it to get the benefits, the tax benefits of ownership, the potential appreciation, the cash flow monthly on that. Fixing and flipping with really limited inventory, harder to find those properties again. Those are fewer and further between right now. There's some of that happening. I know a couple investors that are doing that. But guys, I think in any market you can be a real estate investor. I think there's never a better time than the present to look at investing in real estate personally.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've proven that point just personally on your own. You bought the majority of your rental properties in 2004 and 2005, which were argument you could make that was probably top of our real estate market before it crashed in 06, 07. 04 and 05 was the height. It was even more aggressive than we are right now. And you bought a lot of investment properties during that time. So of course the argument is when you buy, let's throw a number out there, you buy $5 million worth of real estate as investing. And then all of a sudden the values drop to 2.5 million. So my gosh, you've lost $2.5 million on all your investment property. Well, have you? Because if you hold on to it, now here we are 20-something years later, the properties are back to value or above. Somebody else has been paying your mortgage off for the last 20 years. They cash flow. So unless you had to cash out, it didn't hurt you. So I agree. I think flipping right now is pretty much off the table, unless you've got something like an off-market deal or something like that. But anything that goes to MLS for an investor, the numbers are going to get too tight.
Guys, we're at the first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hey, we're here, new time slot, 10 to 11, moving forward. Excited about this, excited to be on Love 105 FM. Again, this is an interactive show. You're welcome to join us by text or phone, 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for joining us here on the new time slot. Scott always has a fun question for us. What's your celebrity one?
So it is, who have you been told that you look like? What celebrity have you been told your whole life? Oh my gosh, you look like John Wayne, or you look like whoever.
Interesting.
So who do you look like?
And what's your second one about?
Second one was just a generic question. It's kind of an inside joke between a friend. Can you burn fat by sitting in a sauna?
Sitting in a sauna. Can you? My thought is you probably can't, but maybe we should ask this guy. Mike is the workout fiend.
That's all I do. I just sit in a sauna.
And it just shreds away.
Yep. Good solid 7-8 hours a day in a sauna. I'm just in there on my computer. That's all I do.
So tell me the benefit of, because a lot of us like to sit in a sauna. Benefits of sitting in a sauna.
It's a stress reliever.
Stress reliever.
Yeah, it's nice. Whether it's steam or sauna, it's a stress reliever. You know, it can warm up your skin. It just doesn't warm up.
Oh my gosh!
It just does not warm up your muscles.
Tom, I love it. Needed. So my brother Tom just commented. He looks like Brett Favre.
That who does?
Brett. My brother Tom does.
That he looks like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny. Actually, Tom, that is so true. So every time I bring my brother Tom to like work events or whatever, there's a couple gals who have worked with our team for a long time, and one of them after the meeting said, "Oh my God, I love your brother.
He looks like Brett Favre.
Oh my God, I love his beard. He's so good looking."
That's funny.
Tom says, "I've been told that many times while bartending." Yeah, Tom says an executive workout equals sitting in a sauna.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yep.
How about Mike? Who does Mike look like? Mike, you got anybody?
The one I get the most is Jesse Palmer.
Oh yeah, you do look like
Jesse Palmer.
You do look like Jesse Palmer. That's funny.
That's the one I get most.
Yeah, Jesse Palmer was a quarterback that who do you play for? Cardinals?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, now he's
on Good Morning Football.
Yeah. Now he does that, and he's also the new host of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Bachelor, Bachelorette.
That is funny.
Crazy stuff. Now that we've discussed saunas and who people look like here as well, we did have a couple other questions come in. This was a common one. Again, we had this last week about staging a home. Do you have to stage in this market? I have thoughts on that, Scott. Do you have to stage in this market?
I mean, depending on, again, everything's always contingent on what's the price range. But as an overall rule in this market, having a staging consultant come out and take a look at your house on maybe how to declutter, maybe how to take some pictures down, maybe rearranging your furniture, just common sense things before you sell it. That always makes sense. Spending $5,000 to $10,000 on a 90-day staging in this market, I don't think makes sense.
Steve Stalock, Win Home Inspection, longtime partner. All of our partners are at mnrealestateshow.com. You have been doing a lot of inspections, but specifically, you've been doing a lot of walk and talks.
The requests are starting to ramp up to just tag along during showings.
Tell us about a walk and talk. What is that?
Well, basically, I don't inspect or do anything. I'm going to act as probably a very informed. If you were to ask your parents to tag along to a showing, and you're going to get all that parental advice, instead you ask me to come along, and you actually get a lot of good information about what the heck's going on, even without me actually inspecting or putting the house through its paces. There's still a lot to learn.
Yeah,
I think we rename that. You should be like a super parent consultation. Is
super
what
parent?
Yeah, instead of a walk and talk.
Steve's a super parent.
We'll work on that.
Consultation.
Steve can do it. Hey, we got a question Tom had asked. What would you do if you were not involved in real estate?
Oh, like what would I do as a profession?
Yeah, what would you be doing if you weren't in real estate?
Oh my God, I'd be a greeter at Walmart. I'm only skilled to do two things:
Yes,
sell houses or greet people at Walmart. That's it. So hopefully the real estate market doesn't go away, because I'm not qualified. to
You
do
could
it.
do it, Scott.
anything
Mike, what do you
else.
think you'd be doing?
Ooh, great question. I mean, I always thought it'd be like a strength and conditioning coach for a D1 university or something like that.
Right.
Now I'd probably just start my own fishing show.
Yeah. You should do it.
Yeah.
Start a podcast.
Or detail cars.
Hey, I had a question for Steve Stalock. How do you inspect an air conditioner in the middle of winter?
And you don't.
What do you do if you're a
you don't-
buyer?
Yeah, well, you can't turn them on.
Okay.
It's just the laws of physics. You cannot push the refrigerant through the system when it's that cold. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So basically gather as much data, look at the condition of the unit. There's still a lot to learn. Sometimes you'll see damage. You want to know how old it is. Is
Okay.
it 5 years old? Is it 20 years old? So still a lot of things to be learned.
Nothing else you can do though? Just
Can't
really-
physically do, no, not until the temperature outside warms up.
What do you do on your walk and talks with that?
Walk and talk. Everybody,
Hold on, let's hear
go
it.
ahead.
There's still a lot of visually things that you can determine. Siding damage, roof damage, age of the mechanicals. There's still a lot of things that can be seen that basically when you're walking through, you don't look at those things during showings. And instead I'm going through and looking at that stuff. So still a lot to be learned.
Here we go. We're going back live. Love 105 FM. Good morning and welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We are on Love 105 FM every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. It is an interactive show. We were just talking to you there, Steve Stalock, about the air conditioner and how do you inspect that in the middle of winter and what you do with your clients.
Well, the reality is there's nothing we can do to activate and actually test during the wintertime when it's too cold outside.
Sure.
That air conditioner, you can actually damage it trying to run the refrigerant through the system. You can damage the compressor. So we don't do that. Instead, there's a lot of things conditionally that can be looked at. The condition of the outside condenser, and that's the little thing that sits outside. It's got those metal fins. A lot of times those are damaged or corroded. We can look at the age of the unit. Product label will give you the age and the sizing. So there's still a lot of things that can be learned, but we just can't turn them on.
Hey, each week we like to feature some listings of the Minnesota Real Estate Team Remax Advantage Plus. This one, Bryce Schenke. Bryce, a great agent. He has one at 3542 James Avenue North, and it's offered for $140,000. So 140. And Bryce said it's a cozy one-story home next to Falwell Park, and it's a great opportunity to get into home ownership, move right in. It's got fresh paint, new roof on both the home and the two-car garage in the last 6 years, a new furnace in 2020. The garage interior was finished and a heater added. It does have a fenced-in backyard, plenty of space to enjoy an outdoor fire or barbecue. It's also a great location to bus lines, bike lanes, several shops and restaurants off Lowry Avenue. Again, Bryce has that one listed, 3542 James Avenue North in Minneapolis. Guys, we don't see anything with a 1 ever.
No, we do not. So that's a good one. Bryce is a great agent. So yeah, definitely get out and see it. I've got a new one that's just been on the market here a little bit. It is 5555 Spruce Road in Mound. It is 3-bedroom, 3-bath, a little bit over 2,000 square feet. Losing it here. A beautiful turnkey home and desirable location, just steps from Lake Minnetonka, located in award-winning Westonka School District. 3-bedroom, 3-bath home. It's got a 4-car garage, sun-filled and spacious rooms. Very functional floor plan. It was built, I believe, I don't have this up, but
What's the price?
that's $475. I believe it was built in 2006, which for Mound is a little unusual. You can literally hit a 9-iron to the lake. So very, very nice house. $475,000 in 5555 Spruce.
Can you read more about it?
No, you know what? I know Tara. By the way, this is listed by Tara Cardenas. I'm sure as soon as I started reading it, she's like, I'd rather have Ryan read it. So it's a very nice house.
Very nice.
Look it up, 555 5 Spruce Road in Mel.
Hey, we're talking about Scott. Always surprises us with the question of the week. Who do you look like as a celebrity? Was Scott's question. And Mike, who did you say? Who do people tell you you look like?
Jesse Palmer.
Tell us who's Jesse Palmer.
Jesse Palmer. He's a football analyst now. So you'll see him on whatever.
Good Morning Football.
Good Morning Football. And then I think he's also the host of Bachelor Bachelorette.
Yeah, I'm pulling. Yeah, he totally look like him.
Yeah, it is always something fun. There's Mike.
There I am.
There's
There I am.
Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans. Again, interest rates falling, lots of buyer demand in this market. Steve Stalock, Win Home Inspection. Again, all joking aside, the walk and talk is done because the market's so fast.
Yeah,
It's moving fast, so people don't have time for these full inspections.
right. A lot of pressure on a buyer to make a decision, and what they're trying to do is make their offer free of any contingencies such as an inspection, but they still want to know about the house.
Sure.
So they'll hire me to tag along during a showing, half hour if we can get it. And I can go through and point out things that just aren't obvious to the, casual home buyer just walking through a home. And there's still a lot of things that can be learned. I did one yesterday, and within an hour, by the time they were done, they go, whoa, that was a lot.
An interesting thing on the multiple offers that we had on this home yesterday, I had 2 other agents that were going to write, but they would be contingent on the sale of a house,
Sure.
which I found just fascinating to me. I mean, if you are a buyer out there right now and you are buying under $600,000, unfortunately, you are going to have to sell your house before you're going to be able to buy another one.
Sure.
I felt bad for these agents, obviously, and more for the clients. You're not going to get a contingent offer through in this marketplace if it's a house that anyone wants to buy. And unfortunately, a lot of times, if you're the type of person that's like, well, no, I'm not going to put my home on, then there's a certain house that you want. Unfortunately, everybody else wants that too. So all the things you're looking for. So I hate to say it, but you got to get a contract on your house before you're going to be able to move on in this market.
Mike, one question we often get is, again, from the pre-approval letter. So with the offer you're submitting, your agent is submitting on your behalf, you include that pre-approval letter. Why you have to change it each time with a different property address? Talk about that.
That's how I do it. So I make my pre-approval letters property specific. So here's what happens, right? So let's say you have someone, they're pre-approved for a $400,000 house, right? Well, taxes can be different on houses. Insurance costs can be different on houses. There's a couple different factors on there that might swing your payment up or down. So let's even take like a townhouse or condo buyer, right? Well, the big thing that can swing on that is your association dues.
That's right.
Right? So, okay, you're approved for a $300,000 townhouse, Mr. Buyer, and I'm running numbers with a $250 HOA dues. Well, you go and find one somewhere else that's got a $500 HOA dues. Well, now you don't qualify for that one because that higher HOA cost kicks your debt to income ratio up to where you don't qualify. And so that's really where it really comes into play is when someone comes to me, they're like, hey, we want to make an offer on this property. I want to go in and plug in those numbers just to make sure that there's something something didn't pop up like a higher HOA dues or something like that that's going to kick them out of their pre-approval status.
Yeah, that's it's a good point. Again, you need a loan officer that's going to be mobile, quick acting. Again, we've been talking with Steve Stalock, Win Home Inspection. Steve, one thing this time of year with the snow melting, springtime, thoughts, tips for homeowners with their home, with their property?
I'd say get outside, focus on first of all, where did you pile all the snow when you shoveled? That is huge potential for water getting against the basement foundation. That might be the corner of the basement that's going to be wet. Get out and make sure that if you have gutters, downspouts, make sure they're away, and go test your sump pump. Figure out how to test that. If it comes down to just pouring water in to the bucket, do test it. But most of them have a little float, but you want to test and make sure that works and really stay vigilant on that.
Speaking of sump pump, and I know a few weeks ago we had a question about the line, going outside the home and it freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for existing homeowners, it's been frozen. I mean, what do people do for ongoing maintenance with that?
Yeah. So that can be tough. Some people will put a heating tape on it to make sure it flows. But if you have a home, and it's rare that the drain tile system, meaning water is getting against your foundation, even in the middle of December and January, you need to have that pump running. Most all cities say that water has to be discharged outside. There are certain cases that you can get a waiver to say I can discharge that water into like my laundry room sink. Cities don't want you doing that. They don't want to send what's clean water into the city treatment center. But during that time, rather than discharging it outside, they'll temporarily let you run it into that laundry room sink so that you're not getting a lot of ice damage outside. So I'd look to divert.
Yeah, we're at the halfway point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show, 612-294-6949. Hope your Sunday is going well. We are going to be live every Sunday morning moving forward, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Love 105 FM. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Be sure to check out to the investor question earlier. We do free seminars each month, investment property seminars, as well as first-time homebuyer seminars with Mike. Illuminate Home Loans, great spots to learn about buying your first home, investing in real estate. Please don't hesitate to check those out. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for tuning in, Steve. You got anybody who people have told you look like?
I have two.
Two.
Believe it or not.
Wow, all right,
this
Steve.
boring face.
Yes.
So about 25 years ago, out with the family, we were at a public swimming pool, and a bunch of little kids over on the side. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh my gosh.
So bald head goatee.
Yes,
I thought it was because
Steve Austin.
I thought it was because I wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
And then
JoJo's in studio, kind of shaking her head
shaking
here.
her head.
She's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to deal with these guys every
Recently,
Sunday."
I've had people tell me I look like Bryan Cranston. They go, "Say my name."
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
that is true. Yeah,
It's-
both of those make sense.
And
Brian, yeah,
I
Steve.
just thought I'm a boring kind of person, which I am.
You should roll with that, Steve. You could do like something at Mystic Lake. You know, like
I'm just a handsome bald guy.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, JoJo.
There's a little bit.
I don't know. I'm not going to do the bald mullet.
You do.
That's not going to happen.
Steve, you do. I don't know if politically you're on the same, everything's aligned.
Nobody's aligned with
I was
Jesse.
going to say, I don't think anyone's aligned with Jesse.
Oh my goodness. 46949 is how you can join us throughout the show here. Again, appreciate you tuning in. This is our new time here on Sundays. Mike, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but we were talking a little bit about interest rates going down. And how is your volume? We said the real estate market has 30-40% less closings. I mean, is it very similar? Are you getting any refinances? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, as far as our closings go, yeah, 30-40% down from last year. I would say that's pretty much spot on for what we're seeing on our end. Refinances, they're few and far between. If you're going to do a refinance now, it's because you're going to do cash out because you're going to pay a bunch of debt off and stuff. Or there's a divorce situation where you have to pay the other person out and you got to get the loan out of that other person's name and into your own name. So that's what we have going now. I do have a couple refinances going. One's a cash out, one's a divorce situation. But really no one's doing a refinance to lower their payment because that's not possible really today with where rates are at.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about on the show, last year when we went from 2.8% to 7.5%, the market shut down, and it was going to take a while before fund real estate, meaning, hey, I want a bigger house or whatever, the normal real estate, which kind of keeps us all in the black, so to speak. That was going to be gone.
To be fun.
Yeah. Well, just to be able to do a normal transaction, because the only ones you're doing are divorces, relocations, something
First-time
unique
buyer.
that first-time home buyers, something that forced them into the market. Because if you just refinance your house at 2.8%, rates go to 7.5%, you're not selling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Again, remember the VA loan, Mike. We are seeing some VA deals getting done. Thoughts on that?
I love VA loans. I think the VA loan program is the best program out there. To be honest with you, I think they get rid of down payment assistance loans, and I think they all underwrite and they just do zero down like VA does it, because it's been proven to work. Look at the loan type that has the least amount of defaults in it out of all the loan types out there: conventional, FHA, down payment assistance, VAs has the lowest default rate, right? And it's zero down too. So they can do zero down and have the lowest default rate. So obviously, how they've set up that loan program and the underwriting on it, it works.
That's right.
Let's just mimic that. Let's just repeat that. Let's take away what doesn't work and let's just do what does work.
Well, the problem is whenever you put institutions in it that make money, they're not going to hold to that same criteria.
Right.
So the reason it works is always for VA, you had to have a credit score, you had to have money, you had to have income. And yeah, it was zero down, but you had all these things to be able to do it. Back when the market crashed, if you had a pulse, you could do zero down.
Right.
So everybody was buying a house with a 20% second, 80% first, got no money in. All of a sudden there's a correction in the market and everybody walked in droves because they didn't have any skin in the game.
Yeah. Again, all I'm seeing when I look at Mike now is Jesse Palmer.
He does look like Jesse Palmer.
Jesse Palmer. We're getting ready to go back live on air. Credit score. A question. Help me improve my credit score. Quick answer. How to improve credit score?
Two biggest things: make sure you make all your payments on time. That's number one factor. Number two is you got to keep your credit card balances low. I always tell my people, try to keep your balances on your credit cards to 20% of the limit or less. And if you can do those two things, that makes up 65% of your score, just doing those two things right there.
Yeah, we had another question too, asking about crime, where you can find out more about crime with the specific property that you're buying. The best advice on that is to go to the local police department, to call them specifically for that address. That's always going to be your best bet to learn more about crime.
And there's a lot of sites out there too. You can even Google it now.
Right.
We'll show you kind of what's going on.
Can I
Yeah.
Yahoo it?
You can Yahoo it if you want.
Okay.
Bing it.
Yeah.
612-294-6949. We got a couple other questions that have come in. We'll get to those in a second. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show here on Love 105 FM. Appreciate you joining us here every weekend, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Talking to Steve Stalock, the handsome bald guy who said he looks like three people. Jesse Ventura. Who are the other two?
Two people.
I have been confused with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which clearly I believe is because of my physique.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
And recently Bryan Cranston.
Okay. Do we need to get a pillow for you too, to not bang the table?
I'll sit on my hands.
We're gonna get you a soft pillow like Scott's green one here, so he doesn't bang the table. But you know what? Again, getting into the spring market, guys, it feels good to have a little momentum. We're starting to see some stuff happen. Some more purchase agreements getting accepted. Scott, like you said, you got 2 offers on one of your listings here instead of maybe 10, like last year. 2 offers. Things are moving. Deals are getting done. It feels good.
It does, and I agree with Mike. I mean, if we drop into the to the 5 range, 5.5, 5.25, somewhere in May or June, we're going to have a resurgence of offers and a lot of movement going into the fall. I think that's going to be the difference between this year and last year. Since last year, everything kind of just shut down in June because that's when rates tripled. This year, it's been a year now that it's been out there. So now all of a sudden you go from 6 down to 5.5. We're gonna have a lot of people jump in.
Yeah, we got a phone call here. We're going live to our caller here. Thank you so much for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we best help? So the question was, does cash talk pretty good when you're buying a home, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way to you. So everything is cash to the seller, meaning so the same amount of money, whether you're paying cash or whether you're putting 5% down. Where the cash does help you in this market is when you're competing against 5 or 6 other offers, because with a cash offer there is no appraisal, so that's one thing the seller doesn't have to worry about. So obviously they know they're financially solid. So sellers get kind of fluffy inside when they see cash offers. But as far as net to the seller, I see a lot of buyers that are cash make the mistake of thinking that they can write $15,000 less because they're cash. It doesn't hold that weight because the seller is gonna net 15 grand less, so it won't work.
Sure. Yeah. So the question was if you have to sell, you want to sell now, how much do I have to fix it up? I think again, what we'd be happy to do is come out, at least take a look at it from a market analysis standpoint, give you an idea what is the property worth now, and we look again more of kind of the basic things, cleanliness, perhaps some light painting, some newer carpet. You don't have to do heavy improvements into the home. And again, there's a lot of these companies out there that will say, "Hey, we'll buy your house right now, or we'll guarantee it." That's usually at a little bit more of a discount.
It's not usually, it's
Yeah.
a huge discount.
Huge discount. Yeah, not good for you as the seller. And so what I would encourage is more of listing it on MLS, getting it out to the public so everybody can see it. And again, we could advise on some of the minor things that need to be done, but not something you got to go spend a ton of money on, Scott.
No, and in this market, again, I've said it like a broken record, but it depends on your price range. So if you are a $320,000 house, not that you don't have to have it in decent show condition, but in this market at that price range, it's gonna go crazy. Versus, are you a $700,000 house that doesn't have hard surfaces, which is required in that price range? On and on and on.
People expect more.
They expect more. So yeah, it depends on what range you're in and what we would want you to do.
Yeah, I would just leave it then.
Yep.
I would just leave it in that case, and nothing you'd have to do extra special, because again, there's not many homes with a 1 in front of it in our market, or a 2 for that matter.
That's right.
But again, Mike, maybe to your point, the last point with his comment, those buyers generally are going to be financed. So they're going to get an appraisal. So if you're getting a home appraisal, the home can't be run down. Maybe talk about that for him.
Well, especially if you're doing like,
Oh, it's a condo.
Oh, condo. Okay.
Okay.
yeah. So, if you got an FHA buyer coming in there, FHA is a little bit, tougher on appraisals than the actual condition of the property. Can't have chipping or peeling paint. You can't have missing hand railings, no broken or cracked windows, health and safety type of stuff. In a condo building, that's kind of nice because you don't have to really worry about any of the exterior, the common areas. All that stuff is going to meet any sort of financing requirements. It's really then just inside your unit. What does that look like? Probably not a whole lot that can go wrong on the inside of a unit when you're looking at, how an appraisal works on the loan side of things.
Yeah, since we're talking condos, one thing that people don't understand a lot, and sir, I would look into your association to see if FHA is allowed. So FHA is a financing mechanism where you only have. Okay, you don't. I was going to say most condos don't. Most people don't know that. If you happen to be one that actually is FHA approved, you can get 5 to 10% more for your unit just because that flood of FHA buyers can now buy in there.
I will say one thing too. One thing FHA brought back that they got away from for about 3 years there was the thing called a spot approval. So if your association is not FHA approved, right? If this whole entire association is not approved through FHA, we can do what's called a spot approval, where FHA will approve individual units in that association and still do an FHA loan. Now, the association has to meet certain requirements, financial requirements. So there's no guarantee that they'll meet those. But if your association does meet them and they just haven't gone through FHA to get the entire association approved, we can work one-on-one with any buyers or any units on there to get a specific unit approved for FHA financing.
Yeah, we hope that helps a little bit. Appreciate you listening to the show.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a carryover from our other show.
Yeah, that's good.
On a different station.
Did you ever find those long t-shirts?
Yeah, every once in a while on the show, because people are a little bit shy about calling in. And so whenever we have phones that are dead a little bit, I'll say, well, let's see how many people are actually listening. And so the question was, does anybody have a t-shirt that's actually long enough that will actually stay tucked in? And our phone lines just they were lit up in half a second. So yes, thanks for asking. I did find those t-shirts, and I do actually stand on them and stretch them just so they're a little bit longer. Thanks.
Hey, we appreciate you listening to the show. Have a good weekend, okay? Yeah,
Man, that
that's-
was years ago.
Yeah,
when
I
asked
remember that.
question. Yeah.
Hey, I had a question too, maybe briefly before the break, through our social media stream about property tax refunds. We're going to talk about property tax refunds, maybe the process on how that works. You're probably noticing values have gone up, taxes have gone up as well, and the process to dispute that. So maybe right after the break, we'll dive into that a topic here. 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Mike, gosh, 100 to 200,000 condos. Have you done any financing this year on properties in that price range?
I'm doing one right now, a condo. It's a $120,000 condo. The loan amount $75,000.
Wow.
So,
And who's the buyer on that in this case? Just description.
older woman, looking to kind of downsize, right? So she's got a house now. She's selling her house, looking to downsize, getting a condo. No exterior maintenance. Getting away from that whole bit. So she's selling her house. She's taking the money. She's putting it down on this, 1-bedroom condo. And yeah.
I had a couple of those last year, which was really fun. Same kind of thing. Both happened to be women that were just, kind of in their mid 60s, about ready to pull the plug. And so, we sold their single family home. They went and bought a condo for cash, and now they are debt free going into retirement. It's a good thing.
Yeah, Steve Stalock, Windhome Inspection. Talk again in this market, again, fellow agents listening, watching. Talk a little bit again about what you're doing and maybe about your services.
Well, basically, I always look at myself as an educator. I'm going to go through and teach people about the house and what they're about to get themselves into. So I go through, determine the condition of the home. Are things falling apart? Things need to be repaired? Are things a little bit goofy, wonky, done wrong?
Sure.
So I try to illuminate all the issues that they might occur once the day they get that key, and then they're going to own the house and discover on their own.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be learned in every house. I will walk roofs. I'll climb through attics. As long as everything's safe, I'm the guy going through all that.
Talk about mold. We had a question about mold, finding mold, determining mold. What do you do with that?
Oh, well, I try to do nothing with it, but the reality is mold is everywhere. The big question is, do we have an issue? And it's usually related to water issues, moisture intrusion, that then allows any mold that might exist to germinate and flourish. And it's usually in areas where you don't pay attention. You don't go through attics. You don't go through, certain corners of your basement. And all of a sudden you got kind of a greenhouse effect going on. And those are the things that get to be concerned. Sometimes it can flourish inside a wall and you have no idea.
Sure.
So there are services that can do air quality testing, surface samples, and determine what is it. Then you'd probably want to talk to a doctor and say, is this kind of a mold that's going to cause me respiratory issues?
Sure. That's hard.
So,
Scott, have
it's
you
a very
had buyers over the years with a mold that comes up? Any thoughts that come to your mind when you hear about mold?
I've had it on both sides. I've had it with buyers where we've gone in and we've saw substantial mold example on basement walls where you've got the plastic and you can start to see the mold getting on the plastic inside. Well, then obviously that gets on the block.
Sure.
Actually, on the seller side, Steve was the inspector for a buyer buying my listing, and that was the worst mold house I'd ever seen. It was they had put in a brand new, gorgeous remodel of the kitchen, $300,000 remodel, but it was a 1970s Rambler, and so they did this incredible gourmet kitchen. But they still have a 1970s vent system going out of the roof.
Sure.
So you put all this extra, stuff going on in the kitchen with moisture and steam and whatever, and it just went up into this attic, and it literally looked like you had sodded the attic.
Oh boy.
Like you had sodded the floor and the ceiling with green grass, because that's what the mold looked like.
Oh.
And the important thing to know there is that didn't mean the house was a bad house. It mean it just needed to be cleaned up, and they remedied.
Yep.
I'm sure it wasn't a trivial cost.
It was I remember it was $18,000.
Yeah.
To remediate it.
Unless you know. I mean, a lot of times people will say, oh, they know this is going on. It's like, no, they don't. Because
Yeah.
if that was going on, every homeowner is going to take care of it. So as a homeowner, look in those places that you normally don't look. And once you see stuff like that, start asking questions and take care of it.
Mike, do you know anything about property tax refunds?
I know that you rarely get them.
Process? What can you do about it?
Process wise, I mean, I've never personally gone through it. I think I had a couple of my clients do it, but I'm pretty sure you got to speak directly with the county,
By May.
right?
Are you talking about refunds, or are you talking about
Like
arguing the
Arguing the-
amount?
Yeah, probably the disputing the amount.
Yeah. I think it's May-ish of every year. You can go in. I'll have clients every once in a while that have me do a new market analysis.
Sure.
What people don't understand though is it's not a dollar for dollar. You're not being taxed exactly what your house is worth. Because remember, back in the day, you were paying way less tax than what your home was worth,
Sure.
and then eventually your home was worth more than what your or reverse of that of what your assessed value is. So it's not a dollar for dollar. Your house is worth 900, so your assessed value is 900. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it is frustrating. I know a lot of people have commented they're seeing property values rise. And so as a result of that, property taxes going up really kind of across the board. And, I have heard of some people going to the county, maybe taking an actual appraisal, taking a market analysis, trying to dispute it directly with the county to show them that. The reality of it is the city, I mean, they're sending out their appraiser, their person who is, taking a look at the home itself and providing that, Mike.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you see those memes go on Facebook. Here's what your house looks like to a county assessor, a city assessor, and here's what it looks like to an appraiser, and here's what it looks like to a buyer.
Those memes?
It's all different, right? It's different to everyone.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, whenever I have a seller that said, well, we just had an appraisal a year ago, I'm always like, oh, because depending on what you're doing to get the appraisal, that number can be way off.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Steve Stalock, the handsome bald guy.
Me?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. A couple other listings to touch on here. Fong Cow has a great one, Scott. This is in Maple Grove, 11282 82nd place, listed for $580,000. It's got an open house today from 12 to 2. It's a 2-story home, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3-car garage, almost 2,500 square feet. And Fong says it's got easy walkability to all the amenities Maple Grove has to offer. The home is only available to the seller's job transfer, and also the seller is willing to contribute $5,000 towards the closing costs, prepaids for a buyer. Again, $580,000 for this property. It is a 2-story up in Maple Grove. Open house today from 12 to 2 for $580,000. And then one other one, Brian Amundsen has one, Scott. This one is $500,000, and it's in Savage. A great agent, 13105 Utica Avenue in Savage. And it is a turnkey home. It sits on a cul-de-sac. It's got a private wooded backyard, 5-bed, 4-bath, tons of natural light, an open floor plan, many updates. Again, $500,000 for this. Mike, that's kind of right in your neck of the woods there.
yeah, that's a nice one, right on the cul-de-sac. You
Yeah.
said.
So if mine's on a cul-de-sac and yours is on a cul-de-sac, which house sells first?
Last one I've got, Miss Cecilia Giron has got a great one. This property is $580,000, 11282 82nd place, 112. Actually, that's the one I just hit. Actually, this is the one. She is doing a open house on that today. So be sure to check that out. That is the property. Cecilia's got that one. Wonderful property. Nice one, Scott.
Yep, that should go quick. And Cecilia is a great agent, very, very entertaining. So hit her open house, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a great person to follow on social media. If you want to follow a great agent, does a lot of outstanding stuff for her sellers' listings. Scott, we've heard some requests from you about we want to see more from Mr. Wolmering doing social media.
Yes. I do enough social media just to be dangerous. I just want you to know I'm in real estate. So every once in a while I'll remind you. But other than that, not
You
too
really
much.
do a good job.
But
dude.
Ryan knows this. So every morning, guys, for everybody listening, Ryan does a hey team, it's Tuesday today. And he videos himself with his coffee, and it's just going to be an incredible day. Give yourself grace and love yourself and whatever. So anyways, I was making fun of him. I was doing a video in my car at the Cub parking lot, and I started doing basically a spoof on him doing that. And then I thought I was so funny to myself, I started cracking up so hard in my car. And this woman next to me gave me the I don't know emoji, like, are you okay?
Like, are you okay?
Are you okay? Because I had tears streaming down my face.
Dude, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Hey, Deb, thank you. Deb Lazinski, awesome agent. She said, if there are questions, contact your county. Going through this right now regarding property tax disputes. She said the home was purchased in mid-September 2020 for $315, assessed at $370 now. How do you like that?
That's lower than I thought it would be assessed.
Just
so September
purchased.
2022.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
September 2022.
That's not
to
good.
Now, 315 and 370.
No.
Again, has nothing to do
No
with
bueno.
has nothing to do with the value.
No bueno, though.
Think about this. Back in 2000.
Well, but it shouldn't be higher.
Yeah, but but it just adjusts because back in 2005, your value on your home would have been, let's say it's $1 million, but your assessed value would have only been $850. So your house was worth $150,000 more
It's really nice.
than you were being taxed for. So now it's adjusted. Again, it's not a dollar for dollar matchup.
And you got to remember that the county is a year behind. So when they look at a house in the spring of 2023, they're setting the value for what they're going to tax you on in 2024.
Correct.
So you got to remember that too, that they're a year behind. So,
Hey, Steve Stalock, Win Home Inspection. MN Real Estate Show is how people can find you. Tell us again how people can reach out.
Well, my phone number is 952-891-4455. No one ever really calls that, but you can call me.
Yeah, we'll call you,
Otherwise,
Steve.
mnrealestateshow.com is, there we go. Okay, mnrealestateshow.com. You got a great website. You got a bubble there for preferred partners. So
Yeah.
click on that. Scroll down to home inspectors. So you got to go down to the H's and look for me, that handsome bald guy. And I've got phone number and website and everything there.
You can do full inspections.
Full inspection.
You can do what else?
super parent consultations.
Walk and talk.
You can do walk and talks,
verbal consultation.
verbal consultations.
I'll do new construction. I'll do all sorts of different types of properties.
Do you need to inspect new construction, and do you do it?
I do. And yeah, for the most part, new construction inspection will be, we don't find too much that's crazy, but on occasion I have found roofs that were not completed, siding not completed. One common thing that I see a lot is when, you're running your heat into like a kitchen space where you got cabinets. Well, the heating contractor came, put all the air ducts in, and then in comes the finish carpenters, installs the cabinets, and they don't cut out for the air vent to send heat into that room. I'll go through my infrared camera, and you'll see at the bottom of a cabinet, right on top of the wood, 12-inch stretch of the wood that's just bright hot. Because they never cut out the opening to say. I
Wow.
find that a lot.
That is so fun.
Probably one or two in every new construction.
Okay, so O'Neill's trying to get to the end of the show without telling us what celebrity people say you look like. We got.
I've had nobody say that you look like this person.
You look like Peyton Manning.
Oh my god.
He does. He looks like Peyton Manning. Does
I
he
can
not?
see that. Yes.
Yeah, it's Peyton Manning. Okay, so mine was like Steve too. So when I was younger, it was
Peyton
Marky Mark.
Mark Wahlberg.
That was
Yeah, you really do.
when I was younger. I got that a lot.
You still do.
As I got older, it's Michael Keaton. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's
Michael Keaton. The well, he's been in a bunch, but he's older. But yeah, so it was those two.
Mike, how can people reach out to you and your awesome team at Luminate Home Loans, fellow agents, brokers, customers directly?
I made my website super easy so that you and Scott could remember it. Applywithmike.com.
Very
I
nice.
do remember it.
Mike, nice work. 10 a.m. Well, we like the new time slot.
Yeah, you guys definitely, I can tell you're more chipper. Absolutely.
Yeah, a little more chipper. We appreciate people tuning in. If you are looking to buy, sell, invest in the Twin Cities, we are here to help you. mnrealestateshow.com or 612-294-6949. We've got a top agent on the Minnesota real estate team. Wherever you are listening to this show, all over Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. Scott, last thoughts?
Yeah, no, just again, still a very good time to buy out there. We haven't really hit the brunt of activity. So again, if you're a buyer, get out there. My house that I sold yesterday, a couple offers on it. Actually ended up going very little over list price. I mean, that's kind of what you're dealing with. So get out there. And if you are selling, more specific, if you are selling in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to move to Florida, you're going to move to Arizona, you're going to sell your house because the kid, whatever the situation is, this is the second best sellers market we've ever seen. So if you want to max out on your house, sell it now, rent a place for a couple months before you leave.
Sure.
We don't know what's going to happen in 2 years or what pricing will be at. So if a lot of your retirement or money is tied up in your house, right now is a good time to look at it.
Yeah, mnrealestateshow.com. Appreciate you joining us on social media as well throughout the week. We look forward to hearing from you. We'll be back next Sunday at 10 a.m. Big thanks to JoJo here for coming in and dealing with us on a Sunday morning. This has been the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for watching us on social media. It's been fun. A lot of good vibes. We'll be back next weekend. Good job, Steve Stalock.
Okay, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we'll be back.